Sorry it took so long to get started, but I have a lot going on in my life, and there is people that I needed to talk to and get the okay to talk about certain things and not get in trouble. So now I have those individuals' approval. So I'm trying to find a spot where my face doesn't reflect the lights here. So these videos are going to be pretty much amateur because I do not know what I'm doing. So this is all trial and error here. I'm not a professional. But anyways, I will put like part 1, part 2, whatever at the beginning of each video. That way people who are coming in know where they're at. I don't want to spend 6 hours doing a recap for every video. So if you find that you've found a video of mine that's right in the middle, I apologize. You're going to have to just come and watch from the beginning. That way I don't have to redo and repeat because there's just too much to talk about. So again, my name is Brooke. I was born in a very small town of Libby, Montana. Beautiful place, absolutely beautiful, but also very horrible. It is mostly a loggers town. It is, most of the people there make their money logging, and my dad was a truck driver, a semi driver. So he had a CDL, and that's what he did most of my childhood. He was either driving for logging companies or he was doing over the road long haul. And so yes, that's where my story begins, is Libby, Montana. I share that with one of my siblings. I have two sisters. There are three of us. I am the middle one. We are all 2 years apart. And it was a beautiful place to live and to grow up partially. We eventually moved back to Idaho, into northern Idaho, the Panhandle. That's where my father and his family are from. So we kind of bounced between Montana and Idaho, pretty much wherever work was available. And so I don't really remember, of course, most people don't. They don't remember up until they hit a certain age. For me, my story begins at the age of 5, is when I remember everything from that point on. And we had moved to Ely, Nevada, and my dad was going to be driving an oil rig over there for a few months. So we only moved over there for about a year, and then we came back to Idaho. But that year was so impressionable on my memory as a child. It was where my hell began and never ended. My family consists of my mother, Linda, my father, Mitch, my oldest sibling is Carmen, I'm the middle one, and then my youngest sister, Christina. So they had 3 girls, no boys, thank God. Or I don't know, who knows. But for the most part, we had a pretty normal childhood up until I turned 5. And I was born in 1982. So in 1987, is when my dad flipped a switch and decided he was going to show us his true colors, his true self. So it took 5, 6, 7 years of marriage to my mom before he completely turned into a monster. And my first image I can remember of my dad was him putting holes in the walls, him grabbing my mom throwing her face into food on the floor that he put there and just screaming at her, and just, oh, it was terrifying as a 5-year-old to see that. It's like you see your parents as your protectors, you're the people who love you, care for you, take care of you. And here he is now putting his hands around her neck and strangling her and punching walls and screaming at us girls and just losing his ever loving mind. And, and I thought then, well, it can't get worse than that. It got worse, a lot worse. We ended up moving back to Idaho after the year was up. And then we rented a house in Pinehurst, Idaho, in the Great Silver Valley. And it really got awful. And there's, I don't even know how to, not jump around, because there's so much information in my head that it's hard for me to pinpoint one timeline and stick to that one timeline without realizing there's so much more to that timeline, but it involves other people and other moving parts, so it makes it kind of complicated and hard to get out and tell my story, because there's so many moving parts in it that people look at me and they're like, how can you keep all this straight? And it's difficult, but I do it, and I get, so please bear with me if I'm bouncing around. I'm only trying to help you understand the full story, not just me. The house that we moved into happened to be right next door to a police officer. And I won't say his name because I don't have his permission to. But I was so mind blown that all this could go on with a police officer next door to us. I grew up as a very straightforward little girl. I am very blunt. I say what's on my mind. I don't hold back. I am very, even if it's the truth and it's going to hurt somebody's feelings, I'm going to tell you. So I was the troublemaker in my family, the black sheep, because I would not do what my father told me to do, because I knew what he wanted me to do was wrong. And the things and how he did them were not okay. And he was gone quite a bit in that time frame because he was doing long haul truck driving. And I remember as a child, as a 6-year-old, I was so happy when he would be gone, because then at home it would be calm, it would be enjoyable. But as soon as he'd get home, it was game on. It was almost like he had to make up for the time he was gone. And almost every other night when he would be at home with us, he would bring our mother to our bedroom. Now, I'm reminding you, I was literally 6 years old. My youngest would be 4, or my youngest sibling was 4, and my oldest was 8. He would bring my mom completely naked, covered in blood, with this big, huge knife. It was a military knife. And he would tell us to say goodbye to her, that this was the last time we would ever see her. This is what I would deal with every other night. And I remember my mom escaping from him on several accounts and running naked, bloody, a mess, to the neighbor's house, which was a cop, for help. Yes, they came. It would take almost 3 sets of handcuffs just to contain him, to get him to jail, and he would be back out in less than 5 hours. So most of the arguments and the fighting and the brutality was in the evenings. And so when they would take him to jail, he would be back in the house before us kids would even wake up the next day. That's if we were able to go to sleep. And, it blew my mind as an adult. Like, why are they letting this person out? Like, I'm still confused about it. And the fact that nobody knew how horrible of a man he was, and how all the covering up of all of his evilness by not just cops in the valley, but by pastors and other people sweeping it under the rug. I can't even tell you how many churches my father was kicked out of for molesting the girls at church. Now, in my adult mind, I'm thinking, if he's doing it to the kids at church, he's doing it to his own kids. We should get them help. It's my thought. No. Nope. They covered it up. They would just exile him out of that church, and that was all that was done. There were never any charges pressed against him by the other people's, like, I don't even know how many there were. It was just a normal thing for us to be kicked out of a church randomly. And, it was hush hush. Nobody say anything. Nobody do anything. Mind blown still. But anyways, back on, I do have ADD. I'm almost sure of it. So I might, shiny thing. But it's my way of survival. I laugh at things I shouldn't laugh. I'll have a smile on my face when I'm like, I don't know what emotion I need to express. That's my trigger. It's just like, okay, just laugh about it. If I laugh about it, it's not that bad. I can survive this if I laugh about it. That's literally how I think. And it's worked. So I'm alive still. I'm here. I'm able to tell my story. I'm able to hopefully inspire other people to, this is not a normal life, and it's not okay for somebody to do these things to anyone. And it breaks my heart to know that I'm not the only one that has gone through something so traumatic and so life changing, that it has affected me so badly in life as an adult. And I mean, we'll get more into that kind of stuff. But my dad was a great guy. Everybody liked him. He got along with most everyone. He was an amazing mechanic. You could give him anything torn apart in pieces, and he could put it back together, and it would run perfect. He was gifted when it came to any kind of engine. Didn't matter if it was small engine, big engine, did not matter. He was a great outdoors woodsman. We got our own wood our whole lives growing up. We've never had to have somebody go do that for us. I mean, he was very, very educated, very smart. And that was one of his superpowers, and how he manipulated people into doing and thinking what he wanted. So, and his home life growing up is a whole nother topic. Like, oh my God. Whole other topic. And, he met my mom when she was 18 years old. He was a bus driver. And my mom was in her senior year of high school in Kellogg. And they met that way. And they were together for 27 years. And I am still blown away that we have survived what we have been through in that 27 years. It blows my mind. But, growing up, my older sister, Carmen, was very loyal, did what he asked her to do, didn't give him any kind of lip or anything like that. She was, she was completely controlled by him. He had his claws in her so deep that it was what it was. Then my little sister was very, she would disagree with us, but she was daddy's baby girl. Like, she was everything to him. She looked a lot like my aunt Lori, my dad's sister, younger sister. My dad had three siblings. So Ginger is the oldest, then Mitch, which is my dad, then Lori, and Tim is the baby. Now, out of all 4 children, there are currently only 2 still living, which would be my Aunt Lori and my Uncle Tim. They had a horrible upbringing. I mean, a mother who was oblivious to everything that was going on. Don't get me wrong. I love my grandma with everything I have, and I always will. But there was a lot going on in that house that was not okay and not normal. And it created a monster, unfortunately, that I had the pleasure of dealing with. We were pretty family orientated. We did do Christmases and holidays at Grandma's house. That was a pretty normal thing up until, I want to say, about the 90s, the early 90s, when my dad decided that he was going to go headstrong into the church life and really got into religion, like deep into religion, to the point where us girls were not allowed to wear swimming suits. Nothing was allowed to be shorter than our knees. We weren't allowed to wear tank tops, anything like, that was considered seductive. So, we quit celebrating Christmas, Easter, any holiday. The only holiday we really celebrated after the 90s was Thanksgiving, which I thought was weird, because I'm like, if you're going to not celebrate any holidays, let's not celebrate any holiday. But that was in my mind. But anyways, yeah, it got really, really weird. We were having a lot of Bible studies at our house and had a group of people who would come and do Bible studies with him. And then I started to notice, and I'm old enough to read and understand at this time. I'm guessing I was around 8 or 9. So I understood the Bible, and I understood its basic meaning, because I am a child. I can't get in deep detail because I'm just a child. My brain's not even done developing yet. But I knew the difference between right and wrong, and I tried as a kid. We're gonna do things. We're gonna try and steal a cookie. We're gonna try and sneak into the goodies every once in a while. That's what kids do. But my punishments for me personally were insane. Um, us kids did everything. We did the dishes. We cleaned the house. I think the only thing that my mom really had to do was laundry. But even in the laundry department, we had to fold the clothes. Like she would wash them, put them in the dryer, bring them upstairs, and we would fold them. And we'd have to fold my dad's clothes a certain way. And if we did not do that, and I mean right down to his underwear, had to be folded in a certain way, we would be punished for that. And I'm not talking about, oh, go to your room. No. My dad would take a dime and put it on the wall, and we would have to hold that. And if that dime fell, then we would get whooped. And when I say whooped, I mean beat. Like there was no such thing as just a spanking. It was horrific. It was your pants were down around your ankle. Pants and underwear down around your ankle. You had to grab a hold of your ankle with your hands. And then he had this awful freaking belt because he was in the military. So it was the belt that he used to hold like his water bottle, and like different things would slide onto that. And it's made out of like this weird fiber. It's not even cloth. It's not leather. It's like a plastic almost, like a polyester almost. And what he had done is he had folded it in half, took a match, and burnt the ends so that it wouldn't fray anymore. So now you have a hard plastic, like burnt plastic, at both ends of that belt. And he'd hold it down where he'd folded it over. So we're getting hit twice with two belts at the same time with burnt plastic at the ends. And he didn't just, my dad was 6'3" and probably weighed 380 pounds then. He was a big man. And us kids were little. And I mean, my butt would be blistered so bad. Welts, almost bleeding on my hip from where that hard melted plastic part would hit me. And I can't tell you how many times I got beat with that stupid belt. And I hated it. And I got revenge on that belt, I tell you what. And that's another reason why I probably got beat so much, is because I stood up to him. I was like, no, this is not right. He didn't care who was around when he was upset. Like, we had family over, aunts and uncles over, and he'd look at me and he's like, Brooke, I want you to go take the trash out right now. If you don't have your shoes on in 10 seconds, I'm going to beat your ass. And then start counting. And I am trying like hell to get my shoes on and tied before he got to 10. And I can tell you, as a child, it was impossible to do. But I sure as shit was trying, because I didn't want to get beat. Like, nobody wants to get beat. And he would bust my ass, black and blue, welts all over, family there, family not there. It didn't matter. It absolutely didn't matter. If it was something he wanted right here, right now, you got it for him right here, right now. And that's the way he wanted it. And the more he beat me, the less I listened. Because that's when I knew This is not normal. This is not okay. This is not right. I'm going to fight him because. And then when I seen him switch to, instead of beating me, and he got a bigger response out of me when he went after my mom or one of my siblings. And it was his aha moment. So then he targeted me because he knew I would put myself between my mom or sisters to protect them from him. So then it became extremely difficult for me because he knew he had his hands full and that he would have to try and break my spirit. And so he started doing other things than just beating us. Then his new favorite game of Russian roulette. Yes. He would take a .44 pistol, put one bullet in it, spin it, and go from his head to my mom's head to our heads. That was his fun. And I could tell you right now how beeped up it is for a 9 and 10-year-old to pray to God that when he put that gun to his own head, that it would go off. I can't express this enough. How every single time he put that gun to his own head, I would ask God, please, please, just let it go off. Let it go off. Please, God, please. Help us. Save us. Shoot him. Let him shoot himself. Please, Lord. And every time, it would never go off. I still don't understand how all 5 of us survived that. Like, how every time he did that and how often he did that. How did none of us die other than the fact that God was protecting us? That's the only way I can wrap my own brain around those numbers, because one of us, if not more than one of us, should be dead. Like, I don't understand. But anyways, he was the most awful person. Awful. Because he was good. He was really good at manipulating people and getting them to do what he wanted them to do. And to believe what he wanted them to believe. It just would blow my mind. Absolutely blow my mind at the 2 different people. The one when people were around, like his friends and customers who would bring him vehicles to work on, and he would just charm them up and talk their ear off and tell them how great he was, and like, people believed it. They actually believed that he was this amazing Christian man who would never do anything wrong. Not ever. And I used to just stand there and look and watch and observe and soak all that in, and was just, how? How can you not see the red flags? Like, we had to ask if we could go to the bathroom. And even going to the bathroom was micromanaged. We were allowed 2 squares of toilet paper to go pee, and 4 when we took a crap. And he would stand there and make sure we didn't take any more than that. No, no, not. He would also take quarters and dimes and nickels and put them in various parts of the house. And when we did our chores, if we didn't find the exact change that he put in the house, we'd all get beat. It was insane. I've never felt so like frantic and panic in my life, just trying to find all the money. And he never told us what the exact amount of money was. So that part was, well, we hope we found it all, because if we didn't, we're going to get blisters again. And it was traumatic as a child, living in that high stress, that high, like at any moment, any split second, he could go from being a normal person to being Satan. And it would just take one or two missaid words, set your cup down wrong, you didn't clean the sink right, like anything. It could be anything. Your hair not brushed before breakfast was a big one. That one was bad. Like we had to have our hair brushed, our teeth brushed, fully dressed before we sat at breakfast. That was like our beds made. We had to do hospital corners, and this started when I was like 6 or 7. And then it was our responsibility to make sure he could walk into our room at any point in time and flip a quarter off our bed. Like every day. Every day. Our whole lives, from every second of the day, was dictated when we were going to do this, when we were going to do that, how we did it, and if we didn't do it right, oh my gosh, all of hell would rain down on us. We had to memorize scriptures. And, I remember being so happy to go to school just to escape him and everything that he was doing to us, just to get away from that and feel some kind of like independence. Like I am good enough. I can do this. I am capable. And to the point where I had a teacher in first grade. It was first grade. Mrs. Berg. I'll never forget her. She was my favorite, and apparently I was her favorite too. Yes, I was a teacher's pet. I remember telling Mrs. Burke that there were things going on in our home that were not okay. And I didn't fully tell her everything, but I did tell her about the abuse. Not because he had not molested me at this point. It was just the physical abuse. And I remember she called my mom and dad and asked them if I could live with her. And that's all she did. Of course, my mom and dad said, hell no. I mean, I would have said no too if my kids come home and said, hey, the teacher wants to know if I can move in with her. Like, what do you think? But that was as far as it went. Like, she didn't notify the police. She didn't even tell the counselor. Well, I don't think we had counselors at school then, but she didn't tell the principal. Like, and if she did, he did absolutely nothing. So it was, I'm going to turn this light off behind me. That way it's not, there we go. It's not shining in the video. But it was crazy. It was absolutely insane. And even as a kid, as a little tiny kid, I remember thinking, about my future and what I wanted. I was literally going to run away, live in abandoned houses, and train horses. That was my dream. That was my passion as a child. And I remember getting my little wagon out and having a bunch of canned food hidden in a blanket in the wagon, and I would get it all loaded up and ready to go, and I would run away as soon as they went to bed. And I would end up, of course, falling asleep and not running away, because it was morning time. He was up now. He would catch me. And I think I had done that about, I want to say 6 or 7 times, where I'd have my wagon ready to go. And I think one time my younger sister wanted to go with me even. So we had made this big, huge plan of how we were going to survive in the woods, in these abandoned houses, and how we were going to make money, and how we were going to... we had it all thought out. But of course, again, we would fall asleep and wake up the next day and we're like, dang it. It was exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. And then I think around 12 is when the molesting started, and it started with just touching. And it was hard. It was hard because my mom never trusted my dad. Like, she knew what he was capable of doing, but thought that if she was present, always present, it would prevent that from happening to us. And, he had already been kicked out of several churches before he started with us. So this is something that he had been doing during their whole, marriage. And so she was very aware of what he was doing to these other children, and she was terrified he would do it to us. So that brought a whole nother meaning to helicopter mom. I grew up learning how to hunch my shoulders forward to cover my chest, to not make my chest be as big as it was when I started. Because at 12, I became a woman, and my body started changing, and I started developing in areas. And I watched how much my mom really got after my older sister. Oh, stop, flaunting your chest out there, that's just inappropriate behavior. And so we all learned at a very young age to pull our shoulders in, to hide our chest, and so what that does to a body is absolutely not okay. Because now I am 43 years old and still trying to learn how to stay straight. It's hard. I catch myself doing it all the time because it was so bred into us as children. It was just so normal for us. And now as an adult trying to undo what was done, it has been the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And that's not just speaking about my body, but also my mind. It's I don't have to hide anymore. I don't have to keep that strong, independent woman who will not take shit from no one. It's hard. It's hard to let that guard down, and let people really know who you are and what you've been through, because that was how we survived, is by hiding that and being so strong and so, I'm ready all the time. Like, I don't even, it's so hard for me to relax. Like, I literally have to go in my mind and do almost like a meditation, and like try and get, okay, relax your legs, relax your arms, relax. Let those muscles go. Just let them relax. Because I'm so used to being tensed all the time. Because I never knew what was coming. I never knew when that other, who knows, somebody didn't fold his underwear right, or you didn't wash a spoon good enough, or you didn't find that nickel, that dime. It's just always not knowing what was going on, what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, if we were going to survive it this time. It was, so I'm still, like, even right now, I'm shaking because I'm like remembering that feeling, that stress of like, oh my gosh, you know, like, what do we do? What are we going to do this time? How are we going to make it through this time? You know, like that constant survival mode. Like, I'm still in it, and I'm 43 years old, and the man is dead, and I'm still in it. But see, I have to laugh about it or I'll go crazy. Um, there's so much to say, and I know this one's pretty long. We're already 41 minutes into this. I promise I will keep going. I just, like I said, I have to do these videos when I get a chance, when the house is quiet. My 16-year-old son lives with me. I have my 20-year-old daughter who is also living, or 20-year-old daughter is still living with me. And it's so, things can get more hectic. I don't want to jump ahead too far and be like, I'm trying really hard to stay in some kind of a timeline and explain how my mind was processing these events as they were happening at that age, if that makes sense. And how, you know, eventually I'll get to the point where you'll be caught up with everything and it won't be so crazy, because it's like I'm trying to, like, I'm giving you an information dump right now. So, but yes, I will be putting more videos out, and I'll keep going from where I left off. And I really don't want to do a recap every single time I do one of these, because it's going to get to the point where it's just too much information to recap on anyways. So bear with me. I'm an amateur at doing any of this stuff, because I normally don't even show pictures of myself to people. I know I have a lot of confidence problems, and I'm aware I do. I'm trying to work through those, and it's difficult for me also to bring up all the traumatic events that I've survived through and to talk about them. Like, it please bear with me. I'm really trying hard to get this out and not hurt myself while I do it. And I have been through multiple counselors. I've had really great counselors. I've had really crappy counselors, as everyone else has too. But one in particular counselor, she was the shit, and she saved my life. Literally saved my life. But we will get to that. And so I just want you to be aware that this is all new to me, and it's very difficult to talk about and to bring up sometimes on some of the stuff. I do suffer with extreme PTSD. I do have a service dog that I have who, when he feels my anxiety getting too high, he lets me know. And he is a certified service dog. He's not an emotional support pet. He, he's the only reason I feel like I can do this at this point in time is because he has helped me that much. So, until next time, I will try and get another video out as soon as possible. I just have a busy, crazy life, just like everyone else. So, thank you for listening so far, and I hope that you guys stay tuned and follow this and share it to somebody who has been through something similar or is going through something and it doesn't have to be abuse or molestation. It could be anything where they're just struggling with depression or struggling with people not understanding them. I've gone through that myself, and I understand those feelings of being of feeling so alone and so helpless. And I just want people to know, no, there are great people out there like me who have been through probably worse things than I could ever imagine. And we're not alone. There is a community of people out there who would be more than happy to just listen. I can't tell you how many times I've done that for friends where they're on the edge and I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm a great listener. Just tell me. And it has helped them just to have somebody to listen. Not, this is what you should do, and you need to do this. No, just listen. That's all they need. And to understand that they are going through something that is really hard for them. Even though it's something stupid and easy for me, like I would be like, that's not even a problem. But I'm not them, and they're not me. And all they need is just somebody to listen. And so I know I keep saying this. Until next time, see you soon.